Hey man, we watching a new video by Ari Kento. Every manhwa genre explained in 11 minutes. We gonna watch these shits. Most of them are probably gonna have some sort of fucking regression in them. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Does this even? Okay, it has its own regression. Okay, my fault.
Action is a hugely popular genre in manhwa and personally one of my favorites. Since almost every manhwa has colored panels, this makes the action stand out even.
Bro, her summon got how much episodes? How much chapters? I think it's either 91 or 101 in every fucking chapter, bro. Bro, literally, there's this one panel with this mosquito. I want to get that shit framed on my fucking wall, bro. That shit is just too fucking fire, bro. The way they draw their fucking worlds is crazy. And the premise of the fucking book is even more outrageous. The main character, bro, is like, dude, it's a great show. Why am I saying show? It's a great book, bro. I recommend it, bro. God of High School, get that shit out of here, bro. That shit do not compare to her summon, bro.
Even more. However, I find that the best action manhwa are able to use the way you scroll your phone to their advantage. For example, God of High School is easily one of the best action manhwa I've ever read. Youngji Park does an
he's ever read. Okay. All right, let's leave. Okay, he's ever read.
Amazing job of building up punches and then releasing them as you scroll down. And there's some insane moments in there, like when the main character just kicks the sun. Obviously, if I'm going to mention breathtaking action, though, I have to talk about Solo Leveling's amazing panel work. Rest in peace, Dubu, or otherwise known as Jong Sung-rak. He was a god-tier illustrator, and his work will never be forgotten, truly. Regression is similar to the isekai genre, but also very different at the same time. Basically, in Regression, the main character travels, but instead of to another world, they go back in time, but with all the knowledge that they have at the present moment. This genre is often paired with revenge stories where the character went through something horrible and is given a second chance to make everyone they hate suffer. This can be really tame, like with the case of Villainous Turns the Hourglass, which I've made a whole video on if you're interested in. Or it can be really dark and depressing, like with the case of Redo of a Healer, which, yes, I know this is
wildin'. The nigga was wildin'. If you watched it, you know, bro.
Isn't a manhwa, but you get the point. Sometimes this is combined with transmigration, where the MC goes into an entirely different body, but usually the outcome is the same. With all their previous knowledge, the protagonist is super smart and overpowered. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, most regression manhwa are very similar in their story structure, but I still find myself liking it for some reason.
Bro, it's the isekai of manhwa, bro. It's just they pump them out every fucking week. And you can watch every single one of them. You just have to pick which one you're not going to watch depending on how trash it is. Because each and every single one of them got a little different sauce onto it, got a little different seasoning onto it. It's if you like that seasoning or not. It's the same thing with the isekais, bro. I'm not watching a vending machine fucking isekai. You got me fucked up. But a one with a sword? Yeah, I'm watching that. See what I'm saying? It's the same fucking thing.
Kind of like how you guys like my videos, right? Please like my videos, please, I'm begging. Thriller as a genre is all about making...
Yes, sir. Hold on. Make sure y'all like his video. Make sure y'all like my video, too.
The reader feels suspense, anticipation, and anxiety. I feel like Koreans are weirdly amazing at making thriller movies. Parasite. And their manhwa does not disappoint either. A lot of times, thrillers are paired with horror, and because you have to scroll down to read most manhwa, you don't really spoil yourself by accidentally reading ahead like with manga. Maybe that's just me that has a problem. My favorite thriller has to be Bastard, which is about this kid who's forced to help his father commit his serial murders. The writing is amazing, and it cranks up the tension while reading.
Are you winning, son? Oh my god,
up to 100 every
got
chapter.
Some humor to him.
Definitely check this one out. The Villainous subgenre was born out of the otome isekai subgenre that was born out of isekai. Yeah, I know, we're multiple layers deep at this point. This usually involves a person entering the world of an otome game, which is usually just a dating simulator for women. The twist is that usually the main character is put in the villainess's body, and she has to navigate the world without getting killed or being treated badly because of how their character would normally act. Like most isekai, the main character starts off in a bad position or under-leveled, but by making connections, they have to improve their social standing to avoid the bad ending. Nowadays, villainesses don't always have to be an isekai. Sometimes they'll use regression, like with Villainous Turns the Hourglass. But honestly, I love Villainous. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I think it's because it reminds me of some of the best parts of Rose of Versailles and all the politics and stuff. Comedy is a genre that doesn't need much explanation.
I like politics in anime too. Politics in manhwa, politics in anime. But once they get too much, like that one where literally first episode you fucking summon a hero and you give him the fucking crown. What was that all about? And then it literally like became a whole show based on politics, which is kind of crazy. I'm okay with like which one is this? Which one? The one about the guy becoming an aristocrat and being able to see people's attributes. He got blue hair. That one was fine. It was not. It had politics, but the politics wasn't fucking deep as fuck. Like they were like going like politics, talk about like developing kingdom type politics. He was doing more of like a warlord type politics, you know, helping out like his side, you know, get the crown or whatever the fuck they was doing. You know, I like that type of politics.
But that being said, manhwa comedies are interesting because
oh my god, this one is called Shin Fang. Oh my god. This one right here is so fucking funny, bro. So funny, bro.
Because they tend to rely more on the situation being funny rather than just the character interactions. Yeah. Or maybe that's what I enjoy most out of them. Also, it's hard for me to find manhwa that are pure comedies. Usually it's added as a subgenre rather than the entire story. But if you want pure manhwa comedy, check out We Are Peaceful Brothers. The chapters are really short and it actually got a live action adaptation. Although my favorite comedy manhwa, the Chinese kind, is actually Nanhao and Shangfei.
Yes! Nanhao and Shangfei! Yo, when I'm telling you, bro, this shit is too fucking funny, bro. It's like the chapters are like, if you scroll too fast, bro, you might finish reading the whole thing, bro. Because I finished reading the whole thing in 2 hours. But them 2 hours was like the best 2 hours ever, bro. It's too fucking funny.
It's so goofy, and it makes you remember all those times you fucked with your best friend in high school. And yeah, I really recommend this one. Miram is an interesting genre since it's basically the Eastern version of Western fantasy, if that makes sense. It's Korea's term for the Chinese version of a medieval fantasy setting. It would take too long to explain just how important Chinese culture and folklore is to all Asian stories, but to sum it up, instead of guilds, spells, dragons, and goblins, you should expect martial arts with supernatural powers and different sects. If you want a story about knights and wizards, you put it in Fantasy Europe. And if you want a story about martial arts sects and families, you would put it in Fantasy China. That's basically what Miram is. If you're familiar with Chinese manhwa, this is usually known as wuxia. To give some examples that you Americans might know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Kung Fu Panda are kind of wuxia, but again, this genre has existed for literal centuries, so I can't sum all of it up here. Some of the common tropes in Miram manhwa include a feudal setting with a ton of different factions from Chinese history, supernatural abilities given to humans, and sick-ass fight.
Bro, I'm telling you, the one benefit of reading manhwas gotta be the drawing, bro. When they draw it, it looks... Listen, mangas, when certain panels are drawn, it looks fucking amazing. But imagine that with fucking colors to it, bro. Imagine that with colors to it. That's what these do. That's what these do, bro. That's what these do, bro. It's just crazy, bro. Especially the Miram ones. Like you see the second one that's in the middle. I'm pretty sure that's Nano Machine. That gotta be Nano Machine. It's fucking fire.
Cultivation is an extremely common trope in Chinese manhwa that has made its way into Korean manhwa. While I could make an hour-long video on cultivation,
let me. I know he's already explaining it, but let me explain Miram because basically, the cultivation in Miram is basically the same because literally in Miram, the idea is to cultivate your power enough to become immortal. But the cultivation one just takes it to the extreme on some shit. It's always that. That's why there's this one cultivation one called Marshall Peaks that got 2,000 fucking chapters till still airing till this day. It's like, dude, come on.
And
They're
all of the different tropes it has,
trash,
I'll keep it short. Cultivation is a Taoist concept or process where humans will extend their lifespan and gain supernatural powers by meditating, practicing martial arts, and eating suspicious pills and herbs. Yeah. Think of this as gaining XP and leveling up. Usually the ultimate goal of cultivation is to become immortal or attain godhood. It's another version of the overpowered main character.
Actually, the one that's in the middle, it's alright. It's alright. I've read about like 100 chapters of it, but I wouldn't recommend reading more than 100 chapters because it's gonna get repetitive as fuck. That's what's wrong with these ones. They're repetitive as fuck.
Character, but with tropes and ideas that date back all the way to ancient China, since alternative medicine is still really popular in Asia. If this is kind of confusing, don't worry. It's a huge cultural difference that you will get used to once you read enough Korean and Chinese manhwa. The best
that's so fucking funny. That's not, bro, that's not even cultivation, bro. That one is not really cultivation. That's Miram. That's why I'm saying cultivation and Miram kind of is like two pieces of a pie. It's two sides of the same coin. I don't know why I said two pieces of a pie. That's fucking stupid. I've never used that before. But it's two sides of the same coin. Because the Miram is set in the same, it's the same setting. It's just cultivation. They're mostly just like training and like trying to reach godhood. As for this one, it's more of like a later time. Instead of reaching godhood, just trying to be the strongest person in the realm. In some of the Miram one, there's actually somebody that reaches godhood as like I forgot which one that was. He reached godhood and then he came back down on some shit. But it's weird, bro. You gotta read them so you can really understand it, because it's not something that I really can explain to you, nor people that can he can't even explain it to you.
This cultivation manhwa, in my opinion, is Return of the Blossoming Blade, which has a lot of the same Murim but cultivation tropes at the same time. Gates are a genre that used to be a subset of isekai, which usually just referred to a portal to another world, but ever since solo leveling, the Gates genre has become a lot more specific. Nowadays, some people call this the hunter or dungeon genre, but the concept is still the same. People awaken to superpowers and are called hunters, awakeners, rankers, whatever, and monsters or mutated creatures are invading the earth. Also, there are gates to other dimensions, or regular places will suddenly become dungeons. Oftentimes, you'll see the system trope here a lot. This is where
oh my god. You see this one right here? This one right here. Can y'all hold on, let me when I'm telling you, bro, literally he doesn't give one fuck. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. And I think I forgot what it's called. Oh Lord. Let me shut up.
A menu pops up that the main character can open up, and a lot of times only they can see it. If you're wondering why that specific trope even exists, check out my Isekai Iceberg video, but basically you can blame SAO for a lot of these sins. Nowadays, the majority of action and fantasy manhwa are going to be Gates or Hunter manhwa. Have you ever cut your balls while shaving? I know this guy has. That will be a worry of the past with the sponsor today. Is more commonly known as the death game genre, but I don't want YouTube to age restrict this video, so I'm just going to say Battle Royale. These are also pretty self-explanatory. They involve a bunch of characters in a battle for some sort of prize like Squid Game, or they're a battle royale where the characters are forced to fight until the end, like in the Hunger Games. Okay. One of my favorites is probably Omniscient Reader, which takes all the tropes and genres that we've talked about before and combines it with a battle royale.
It's funny because he called this battle royale, but really this is kind of like, this is also regression, but it's not regression in the main character point of view. It's regression in the, how would I say this, the protagonist point of view, Because the main character is not the protagonist, which is fucking funny. The main character is a bystander. Yeah, the main character is basically the reader of, like, he's the only person that read a book through the whole way, and basically the world turned into the book. And since he's the only one that read the book, he knows what's gonna happen. And the only other person that knows what's gonna happen is the protagonist, because he regressed back at the start of the book. And there's only two people that knows what happens all the way to the end, because actually the protagonist, this is not his first time regressing. This is like his goddamn fucking 30th time regressing. And he knows all the 30 times and all the mistakes he made, because he was like the last person to read the book up until like after chapter 50. Most people stopped reading it, and he was the one that read it all the way to the end. So basically, you can also call this a battle royale. You can also call this a regression. You can also call this a gate one, although it's not really a. Is it really a gate? This one is so complicated, but it's great, bro. I'm telling you right now, it's on par with Solo Leveling. I'm not gonna say it's greater than Solo Leveling because it didn't finish, but it's on par with Solo Leveling.
Royale. It stands out by being really meta, so if you've read a lot of manhwa before, you should definitely check this one out, and I think it's actually getting anime adaptation soon. Sports is a really popular genre in manga and anime that usually involves a team working together to achieve everyone's dreams, but I feel like sports manhwa are not really the same. A lot of them are martial arts related, and the ones that aren't, like Windbreaker, which is technically about bicycling, still has that kind of edgy atmosphere with some drama alongside it. A huge subgenre within sports is the esports genre. If you didn't already know, Korea is known for having some of the most talented esport athletes ever. So there are a ton of manhwa that revolve around esports teams playing together. Imagine like Haikyuu, but with Overwatch or League of Legends. One of my personal recommendations is Double Click. The action and team dynamics in this are really fun, and it turns the typical sports plot into a really fun esports plot. Science fiction is a genre that you don't often see in manhwa, especially since recently sci-fi has just not been as popular. But the most popular stories tend to be the ones that mix in other common manhwa genres, like Regression. My favorite manhwa that does this is Cholsu Saves the World, which is about an ordinary office.
Low-key, I need to watch this one. He's gonna explain it, but I'm gonna fucking explain it first because this is my video. Sorry, bro. Sorry, I'm watching your video, but I'm disrespecting you. My apologies. I didn't read it, but basically, this nigga gets reincarnated back before this asteroid hits the world, so that he could be able to save them before the asteroid hits the world. That's it.
Office worker who is given the chance to go back in time and save the world from an incoming asteroid and prevent the wiping out of humanity. Like a lot of manhwa, even though you already know how it's going to end, the ride there is really enjoyable, and I definitely recommend it. The slice of life genre is all about capturing a slice of someone's regular day-to-day life. Usually these manhwa have a much slower pace, with more emphasis on the characters and their everyday experiences. Some people think that slice of life means no development happens throughout the entire series, but that's not necessarily true. The genre is usually paired with comedy, drama, or romance.
Slice of life is like one of the best genres ever, bro, to ever exist. Especially in anime, bro. You want to chill and have fun, watch a slice of life anime, bro.
And if I'm being honest, there isn't a pure slice of life manhwa that I've read and can personally recommend, but I've heard that Jibi Epsyo is pretty good. Fantasy manhwa are the ones that are separate from Miram, but since the origin of manhwa is South Korea, the fantasy is still really different from what we would usually see in Western fantasy. One of my favorite examples is Tower of God, which has a really unique world and power system. Another subgenre of fantasy that's getting really popular is urban fantasy, which is all about incorporating fantastical elements into our current world. You see this a lot with gate manhwa, like Solo Leveling, but Illicit is another good urban fantasy that is about gods who give powers to humans. It's also pretty funny too.
Wait, Illicit is about gods who give powers to humans? I don't think Illicit has that. Nah, I don't think illicit has that, bro.
Like, this cat is secretly a god of lightning, and he gives this airhead of a guy insane powers. Fantasy is
No, he didn't read this one. This guy usually does his research, which I am always so surprised of, but he didn't do his research there. I got you, bro. This has nothing to do with gods. It's just basically some of the population like got powers and they have to keep it under wraps. So basically they have a whole different world of their own and they have to hide their powers from regular normal people. And the main character, basically he has powers, but he doesn't know about, like, his parents is normal, but he's the only one that's not normal. He's fast as fuck. Like he's freakishly fast. So people were scared of him. And like when he started hiding his powers. So when he grew up, he met this cat, which was an injured guy, which is also that guy right there. His name is Caden. And then he kind of inject his he learned that he didn't have any power, so he kind of like injected his power into him on some like, how could I say this, on some like cultivation type thing, you know, like in like some of the cultivation manhwas, they would help you like cultivate your ki by like injecting their own ki into your body. That's what he did. So then like basically his power started becoming lightning. But it's not none of the god ones. But I see how he made that mistake, because the ones he's talking about most of the time, it is like you going to gates and dungeons and like gods are watching you. Like there was this one basically where like gods was watching him, and this like Loki, which is, you know, a god from Norse mythology, like gave him an offer like to give him power in exchange to entertain him. Basically like these gods just give like people powers like if they entertain them or not, so then they could like reach the gods can reach a higher status in their own world. Yeah.
This cat is secretly a god of lightning, and he gives this airhead of a guy insane powers. Fantasy is weird because I honestly haven't found many traditional fantasy manhwa like Freeran or Dungeon Meshi. They usually end up being Villainous or Gates, so if you guys can recommend me some traditional fantasy manhwa in the comments, give it to me. Romance is another genre that I don't really have to explain, but generally you'll see this paired with Villainous a lot. In addition, another huge subgenre is boys love. If you don't already know, Korea and Asia in general doesn't have the same level of stigma towards gay relationships, so it's much easier to find stories with two male lovers. For more traditional romance manhwa, I would really recommend After School Lessons for Unripe Apples. This shit had me giggling and kicking my feet like I'm back in high school.
What?
The main character is just really funny, and the whole manhwa gives off heavy Toradora vibes, but if Taiga was a 6-foot, 15-year-old boy instead. Civilization, or the kingdom management genre, is usually a sub.
Ooh, I love this, but when they overdo it, I hate it.
Genre of isekai. If you couldn't tell by now, manhwa authors fucking love isekai. They usually involve a character helping create or build a kingdom from scratch, or helping restore their normal house to its former glory. Honestly, this is one of my favorite power fantasy subtypes, because instead of the main character beating everyone up with overpowered abilities, they're usually building their own version of the Roman Empire. And come on, as a man, you know I'm always thinking about empires and civilizations, you know what I mean? Although these are usually isekai, they don't necessarily have to be.
Oh my god. These three right here? These three right here? Oh god. I recommend watching them. Watch Dungeon Odyssey first, because that's the lower tier one. Barbarian Quest is fucking great, bro. It has such a great concept. It's about a barbarian that crosses over a mountain, which his people said to be that over the mountain, that's where the dead resides. But when he goes over the mountain, it's a whole different civilization, and he has to learn about that civilization, and he learns about their god, and that his god is different, and their god is like and he tries to believe in their god, and then for some shit happened, bro. It's really deep. Barbarian Quest is really deep. The Greatest Estate developer, it's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny, bro. If there was a comedy anime, this would be it. I mean, comedy manhwa, this would be it.
Sometimes they are progression or just plain historical fantasy worlds. If you want a generic isekai with kingdom building and comedic elements, check out The Greatest Estate Developer, which is about a civil engineering student helping his noble family out of debt by using the skills he learned in his real life in college. Anyway, that's the whole video. Make sure you subscribe and follow my Twitter for updates. And yeah, peace.
Anyways, what did I just do? Anyways, thank you for watching, bro. I appreciate you watching this video. I appreciate you listening to me yap, because that's all I do. I yappity yap yap yap. Anyways, if you liked the video, if you enjoyed the video, please like. Also, I'm gonna leave a description down below so y'all can go check out his video, you know, and make sure y'all like his video, because bro, I wouldn't be here without him. He wouldn't be here without me. Nah, I'm just joking, but